And we are then back now, of course, to wrap up the day together, Leah. It's been a wonderful day, an exciting day with so many interesting insights. We tackled so many topics. Thanks again, of course, to our sponsors, to WTCF and to Google. But Leah, I'm so curious, it's very hard always to talk about the highlight, but I guess there are many, many highlights. What would you mention? What are some of your highlights?
Right, I mean, that's the worst question you can ask me, right?
Because, I know.
I'm totally high on love for our industry. This is like one of my favorite days in my life when I can be here with all the thought leaders of our industry, hear their ideas, the backgrounds, perspectives, experience them live, see a bit of the true colors of them as well. I don't know, it would be unfair to pick one, right?
Give us three, maybe.
Yeah, so I loved the YouTube keynote, obviously. I think it was also clear that everyone loved it because the room was packed. I loved her energy. It was Roya Zetouneh, right? And I absolutely, personally, will check out YouTube for travel content because I didn't know about the depth that we can find there. But I also like the rather technology topics that you feel are maybe boring, but then they offer you such a vast imagination for what could be really a reality soon in terms of improved consumer experience in our industry. So digital ID and the power of that and seeing the first use cases implemented, that was really interesting to me. You always have too little time for all of these topics, so diving into this massive Indian market, understanding a bit more of it, I think half an hour just doesn't serve that because it's just, there's so much you can talk about, and with every answer I get on stage, I feel, oh, I have to add 20 more questions to my script. It will never be enough this whole day here, right? So, but I mean, luckily, we have these all on recorded, right? We
Absolutely.
have all these videos on demand, so
everyone can rewatch the session on our YouTube channel. But one hot topic, I mean, there were years where we talk a lot about sustainability, but this year it is really a lot about artificial intelligence. That is such a hot topic. So what can you share with us? What stood out during the day?
I mean, that's absolutely true. There was not a single session. I think there was really not a single session where we did not touch on AI, right? So that was a meta theme, and basically every player in the industry is either working with it, developing on it, playing with it. And I mean, that's a good key takeaway. I love that from Booking's Matthias Schmid, right? He said, if you're not playing with it yet, everyone, if you didn't start familiarizing yourself with the technology, it's time to start. So start playing. So that's the homework at least I personally took away, and I think many in the audience as well. And it's good to see the impact, right? So it's not a hype. That's something that's already there, and we just have to learn to work with it and upskill, basically, to be able to differentiate, right? What's hype, what's trend, and then what can I do today for my business to add value?
And what's a myth, right? Or what's reality? Because
I love that too, yes.
You had quite some big names, some big industry names on stage as well. What did they share with you? What stood out?
I mean, I found that very interesting because there was a very interactive session, right, with Scott Wilson from Sabre, and he made this poll with the audience, and it was very long time discussed statements. And if I just recall one is, for example, do airlines and hotels really need intermediaries? It's an ever-going discussion and fight in the industry to decrease dependencies from intermediaries. But then again, everyone in the room would say, yes, they do need them, right? So it seems sometimes we do know what the reality is, but then we try to work against it. And then also you have some oxymorons like, we do know sustainability is super important. It's not something that we can ignore. People say they want sustainability in any offer across the travel value chain. They also say they would be willing to pay more for it, but if you look at the data and their behavior, that's a say-do gap, right? They're not willing to pay more for it. So there's a lot of food for thought, like to revisit the sessions, dive a bit deeper into that and see.
And coming to that, of course, sustainability and artificial intelligence, that's also an oxymoron because it's not a win-win in the end in every regard. So you have to really see the patterns locally as well.
Yeah, I mean, but for me, it's like, and it sounds very trivial, but I feel with all of these complex topics, it comes down to the same thing, right? There won't be a cookie-cutter solution for anyone, that's for sure. And there's not this one source, this one newspaper, this one book you can read and then you know it all. it's just continuous learning, right? We just have to accept the fact that we have to continue learning every day. We have to exchange with people that actually work in the space and learn from each other. Collaboration is key. We can't do it alone. That was a meta theme in all the conversations I had with the travel industry leaders and the C-level conversations. All of them were pushing the topic of partnerships and collaboration. So that's something, yeah, that won't change, I think, in the next years. Even if AI will change a lot, collaboration still is key, right?
And that also gives hope in these currently very political times, right? You ended up and you finished the day with the startup session. Wow, what a session. But maybe you can recall it. What stood out from the startup session? You know, what is driving the changes forward as well?
Right. I mean, what drives it forward is, in the end, always the courage and the perseverance from individuals that are actually willing to embark on this journey to become an entrepreneur in a very, competitive environment, in a very challenging, also economic environment currently for our industry, right? And I just admire that personally a lot. And I think this is a very important balance also for our convention, that we have the, established players sharing what they're working on and what they're doing with the scale they have and the global view they have. But then we also have to give stage to the ones that are rethinking it and that are maybe, bringing some innovation and new ideas to it. So I love that session. I just think it's really a good one to end this day with, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. Anything to add, or shall we call it a day, Lea?
I think we should call it a day. It has been a long day. I'm totally pumped. I look forward to tomorrow, right? Seeing everyone back here at the ITB Berlin convention for the third day.
I know.
And yeah, I'd say thank you, Katie, for the really last time for today.
Thank you, Lea. And I'll see you tomorrow for our responsible tourism track. Once again, I kindly invite you. You can rewatch every session on YouTube and, of course, share your thoughts and your questions and your postings. Keep them going with the hashtag ITB Berlin Convention. And with that being said, I see you tomorrow for morning coffee and for a start together here at the Orange Stage again at ITB Berlin Convention 2025. See you tomorrow.